Tackling the great white cataracts can be fraught with hidden risks and challenges like swimming in the sea and no idea what is underneath the surface. Opacified cortex may be hiding fibrotic capsules, dense nucleus and even polar cataracts. Other possible intraoperative challenges are small pupils, weak zonules, high intracapsular pressure, and there is no cortex to protect the PC during nuclear disassembly. This video presentation will be highlighting the many challenges and the two key surgical techniques to manage these great white cataracts. Firstly, capsular management are dye, puncture, and immediate decompression. Secondly, nuclear disassembly techniques of segmental chops and scaffold techniques to protect the PC. Injection of capsular dye and OVD. Capsular puncture and immediate decompression to prevent uncontrolled tear of the capsule to the periphery. Decompression may be prolonged and repeated. Decompression is repeated as necessary until bulging tense capsule is flat or even slightly concave. Decompression often has to be repeated and in multiple quadrants. Sinski hook is used to stabilize eyeball and reduce eye movements. Venous scissors to cut fibrotic capsule, as forced tearing may result in an uncontrolled tear to the periphery. Capsular puncture and immediate and prolonged decompression in a Morganian cataract. Milky cortex is repeatedly aspirated to improve visualization during capsulorhexis. Residual hypermobile dense cataract is disassembled by segmental chopping and scaffold techniques, which will be illustrated later. Capsular puncture and immediate decompression in phacolytic glaucoma and sustained aspiration of milky cortex. Milky cortex aspiration is repeated to improve visualization. Phacomorphic glaucoma managed by capsular puncture and immediate decompression and sustained aspiration of cortex. Iris hooks to retract myotic pupil and followed by capsulorhexis and nuclear disassembly. Nucleus disassembly is started with segmental chops, cracking the nucleus from the periphery to the center. The nucleus is rotated and multiple segmental chops done to eventually create loose nuclear segments. Emulsification of a loose nuclear segment anterior to other segments, which are acting as a scaffold to protect the PC since there is no cortex. segmental chopping is less stressful on the CCC and capsule compared to conventional chopping when cracking is done across the whole nucleus. More segmental chops and scaffold techniques to protect the PC, which invariably is not protected by cortex in white mature cataracts. Liberal injection of OVD to protect the corneal endothelium and the PC. Injection of IOL posterior to the last nucleus segments to act as a scaffold. IOL acting as a scaffold to protect the PC when removing the last few nucleus segments. Retrospective analysis of 101 white cataracts, including 19 complicated ones and 82 uncomplicated ones. Completed intact CCC is achieved in 87.1%, break in CCC in 12.9%, and a PCR rate of 6.9%. Completed intact CCC of 87.1% is achieved using capsular management techniques of dye, immediate and repeated decompression, and scissors to cut fibrotic capsule. All corneal edema has cleared by 1 week except a severe one which took just over a week. In intact CCC, PCR rate was 3.4%. When there is a break in CCC, the PCR rate is much higher at 30.8%. PCR risk was much higher when CCC is not intact. Nuclear disassembly must proceed with great caution, and flat motility sign as described by Dr. Om Prakash should be closely observed. Key take-home points are: completed CCC is vitally important for safer nuclear disassembly and reduce PCR risk. Scaffold techniques to protect the PC since there is no cortex in white cataracts. Liberal usage of OVD to protect the corneal endothelium and PC. Thank you for watching.